I'm going to be talking about Virgo Rising. I know my hair's a little crazy. Just got out of the shower. I feel like that kind of makes sense for this placement anyway. Um, because Virgo really represents purity. So someone with a Virgo rising is going to come across as really pure and innocent. They might even seem a bit childlike at times. They are a femininity that is independent, regardless of your gender identity. It's indicative of a maiden. That's what it represents. And this is in the sense of that really private, personal air that some women have about them is an essence of your rising sign, regardless of your gender identity. There's just not really a better way for me to paint that picture in your mind of the vibe that they give off. They're also going to be pretty closed off in a sense. Virgo rising is a kind of person that's not the easiest to get a read on or get to know really quickly because they're always calculating and observing everything, and they can seem really detached. Like they might seem almost like kind of an airhead. Like Virgo is a very intelligent sign, but when it's in your rising, you're really not like fully connected to the moment very often. This person probably is really like jittery or fidgety, or they've got a lot of anxiety and it just kind of wafts off of them. The flip side of this is that when they're feeling confident, they are incredibly attractive and powerful and can completely command the situation. Virgo is a very alluring sign. It can be a very seductive sign at times, even though it's innocent. It is a placement of contradictions. It really depends on the person who has this rising sign and how they choose to embody it. Most people that I've met that have Virgo energy are usually on one end of an extreme or another. They can be incredibly shy and quiet, or they can be incredibly commanding. Like I said, it's really how this person has come to grips with their own personal anxiety, because when Virgo is able to master all of the like franticness, then it gets to work. And sometimes this can happen simultaneously. I mean, Virgo is very hardworking. So a Virgo rising is someone that's probably always doing something, always working on something. And in the workplace, on a superficial level, they'll always be working. They're not really going to just be sitting there on their phones. They might do that when they're done, but while they are working, they're going to get their shit done. These people really like to analyze everything. They can be incredibly judgmental, but because it's their rising sign, they don't really communicate that. So they might be looking at everyone and like making little analyses in their head and making judgments about everyone and critiquing everything in their surroundings, but they're not going to like project that as much as a Virgo sun would, for example, or a Virgo Mars when they're like, this is what's wrong with you, blah, 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 because Virgos are known for doing that. But a Virgo rising's gonna kind of keep it to themselves, and it's like they have this secret relationship with everyone that only they know about. Like they have their own opinions on everyone, but when they're actually called to speak about it, it might be a little bit different. Unless you were a Virgo sun and a rising. I mean, I don't know your chart. but that typically tends to be the case. This person's gonna have a really specific way that they like to dress. They probably present themselves very covered up. This is a very conservatively dressed person. Like, regardless of the style, they're not going to have too much bare skin showing. They'll wear pants and long sleeve shirts as soon as it gets cold enough out. Um, unless they're extremely confident with themselves, in which case that doesn't apply as much. But they're still going to be really particular about the kinds of clothes that they wear. They want them to look a certain way. They want them to be clean. They probably get new clothes often enough if they like have shoes, for example, that have just been worn too long and they don't feel clean anymore. They'll probably just buy an entire pair of new shoes instead of trying to fix the ones that they have, or continue wearing them. This person's going to be really particular about all of the little things around them and might be constantly like moving them around, and shifting. They have quite a nervous energy around them. But they're very healing. They, while they might be kind of all over the place and it might not be direct and even conscious, but being around these people, they have a very healing presence. They probably have really grounded, practical ways of looking at things and relating to their world that will calm you down. Ironically, because Virgo is often the kind of energy where you run into someone with a lot of Virgo and they're like, oh my God, blah, 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 and this happened, and this happened, and blah, blah, and I'm doing all these millions of things. And you're sitting there like, yeah, I mean, my day was pretty normal. So in that way, they can have a very grounding, calming presence because you realize you don't have to deal with all of that. Because Virgo is a really hard energy to be. It's not always fun unless you've kind of got it figured out, if that makes any sense. What else can I say about this rising sign? It's an interesting one. It's very detached, like I said. This person might seem cold or like they don't want to interact, but this is just on a rising level. Like, if you walked by this person and you didn't know them, they'd probably just be like looking down or looking away or being quiet or keeping to themselves. Once you get to know them, they're probably going to be incredibly polite. And the first thing that you'll notice about them is that they're just really friendly and respectful of you and will smile and wave and, like, directly interact with you. But it takes time. Similar to Cancer rising, where it really takes time to understand this person, because Virgo is a pretty complex sign. They're probably going to worry about things in their immediate environment, and let you know about that, and just have a lot of energy that, like, you don't really know where it's going, and they don't either. If this video seems very confusing and complicated, it's because it's part of the energy of this rising sign. So if you have this rising sign, I would recommend that you allow yourself to sink into it fully, because it's probably not something that you connect with very often, and you have to connect with it in order to fully integrate it into your soul and understand it and work through it and then use it to your advantage. Because I feel as though a lot of people that have this rising sign are ignorant of it, or just kind of push it away. And this will, because Virgo kind of works on its own, if you're not aware of what your Virgo energy is doing, regardless of where it is, it's going to do what it's going to do, and you're not going to have any control over it, which will probably not be to your advantage because then you've got this part of your persona that's just kind of acting without filtering itself through you, and that's not necessarily a cohesive way to experience yourself in this lifetime. I hope that made sense. I would also recommend trying to plan and organize things and write them down so that they're less, and again, this is for a lot of Virgo energy in general, so that's less in your field and more like out on a physical thing that you can see so that you can look at it and connect back to yourself and be like, oh, okay, yes, this is real. This is where it's coming from. These are the things that I want to do. And those will calm you down. You need to feel like you're doing something, like you're busy, like you have tasks to do, because if you don't keep yourself occupied, you're just going to end up interacting with things in a really half-ass level, or you're going to do really unhealthy things, and you're just going to gravitate towards things that are easy and not really for your highest benefit. So you need to listen to your mind and what you need and what you want, and you have to be more aware of these things. Not obviously easier said than done, but it can be a difficult rising sign at times if you're not really keeping tabs on it. So any advice I'd have for someone that wants to befriend or get to know Virgo rising better is to respect their space and respect their boundaries. I think obviously that's a good thing to do with anyone. Like a lot of this advice has nothing to do with astrology necessarily. But yeah, respect their space and their boundaries and don't criticize them and kind of let them be themselves. And when they have a lot of anxiety, try to encourage them to go on a walk or do an activity or get something done that's worrying them, because usually they're freaking out because they have a million things that they have to do and they end up doing none of them. So help them like be active and do something. That's really what you can do to help this person, and encourage them to work through this part of themselves. You're going to have to be really patient and understand that like they don't really need you and they're good on their own, just as far as the rising sign goes. Obviously they could have a lot of Gemini and Libra and really need you. But Virgo is like the pure divine essence. I don't want to say femininity anymore because I mean I'm non-binary and I feel like it's excluding a lot of people. There is a lot of gendered terms in astrology in general, so I'm gonna just say it's a really receptive energy. I again don't want to gender that word. I don't know how to say it. I think you know what I am saying. It has a specific archetype. It's the virgin, it's the maiden, and these are typically associated with other archetypes. But I think it's important that we deconstruct that. Not now I'm getting a little bit off topic of this video. But the Virgo energy in me wants to critique and change and fix and analyze everything that I'm saying, because I'm channeling it for this video. But yeah, what do I want to say here? It's purity and it's healing energy and it is service. This person's always going to want to help. Like if you ask a Virgo rising to go get something for you, like, oh, hey, go get me a glass of water. Can you hand me my backpack? Do you think you could give me $5 for dinner? Like, they're gonna do it. And you can call them up and they'll drive an hour just to chat with you. They're really giving people. They're really kind people. They just have a lot going on. So allow this person to have space and breathe, but allow them to feel needed. I know it might sound silly, but ask them little favors here and there. Not anything overwhelming, but they like to help. That also calms them down when they feel like they are serving and contributing to the planet and the people that they love. They feel worthy, and then they start feeling confident, and then they start not having the anxiety problems. Um, I feel like this is like astropsychology. Um, that would be really interesting to pursue. Anyway, I feel like I'm rambling, and I know I've left out a lot. So if you have this placement or know someone with this placement, please give any more information in the comments, and we'll read through them. I try to read all of them. I have some links in my description to some projects that I'm working on. If you wanted to check that out, that would be really great. I'm going to continue on with these rising sign videos because why not? And then I'll make like a playlist of them. So thanks for everyone that's been saying really nice things. I started this kind of as something for fun, and I didn't ever expect that I'd get any feedback, let alone like every couple days someone just has something really nice to say, and it really brightens my day. So I appreciate that. And if you have any specific videos that you want me to do, just let me know and I'll do it. I freestyle all of these intuitively. Like I haven't really researched anything in quite some time. I just kind of try to channel the information and speak it as it's happening. So anyway, thank you for listening. I hope this helped somebody, or gave you a little bit of insight. So peace.